Hey everybody, welcome to, I guess this would be part 4 of creating the fire spline. Today we're going to be going over creating the events and working on the functions in the actual player character that are going to handle the damage over time events. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. So first things first, we're going to need to go ahead and reopen our blueprint interface, the BPI_DOT. For the DOT active, first we're going to get rid of this output here. Don't need that. And then we're going to add one more input. We're going to set this to an integer. And let's just name it. We'll just name it counter. So if you remember, well, let's go and compile and save. If we go back over to the fire path spline, we set up our DOT active. We just set it to fire. We didn't bother creating a variable for the enum. We're adding this counter here. This is going to either be a +1 or a -1. So this is basically if you interact with the collision, like you enter it, we want that counter to go up, and if you are leaving, we want that counter to go down. So we've got our +1 right here. This is going to be when you leave the spline, which if you remember, we set it up to these bind events on component begin overlap and end overlap. Oh, geez. Okay, fix that. So we've got our begin overlap and our end overlap. So for begin overlap, we're just going to set this to 1. And then for our end overlap, you can go ahead and just copy all this right here. I'm gonna bring it over here and paste it. I didn't copy for some reason. There we go. It's down too far. Component. With the DOT active into the other actor. And then we're gonna set this to -1. And then return. Okay, so that should be pretty much everything we need inside of the fire spline. Okay, so now we're going to go to the player character. If you go to interfaces, this is where we left off last time. If you double click the DOT active, it should open this up. So first, we're going to pull off the DOT category, and we're going to do switch, and this will open up a switch on enumerator_DOT. So this is all of the enumerators we currently have, just fire, poison, acid. And then the counter, this is the same counter right here, so either -1 or +1. So we're going to need to create a new variable here. It's going to be an integer. And let's go ahead and rename it to on fire counter. So you would need one of these for each. So if you do poison, acid, lightning, drowning, whatever you have here, you're going to need one of these for each. We're going to take this counter and we're going to add it. I'm going to put this in the bottom here. We're going to add it to the current counter and then set it. Plug that in. So on fire. So this will be either positive or negative. It'll add it to here and then set it. Then, let's see. We're gonna need to make a function here. So if it's positive, well, we don't need to get it because we have it right here. We can check if it's greater than 0. Branch. And then we're going to need to have it check if the player can actually catch on fire, and we'll need to pull out the ticks and change everything there. So we'll do, let's go ahead and go to the DOT graph we made before. Let's make a custom event. We'll name it set timer. Yeah, set timer. And then we'll name the other one name it remove timer. Okay. Do a sequence. I'll show why in just a second. First come out, we'll do once. And then from here, we got set timer. We'll go back to DOT active, true. We'll do set timer. And then if it's not greater than 0, we'll do remove timer. Poison, acid. Let's go ahead and on these, we're gonna make these multi-purpose. So let's add the enum here. So we'll do the DOT enum. Enum and DOT enum. We're going to add another switch. Pull off this and do the switch, that way it comes up faster. Fire. We're going to copy and paste that right here. And you want these to line up. So realistically, what your end result would look like would be something like this. With poison going here, acid going here. And then the then one on the sequence is going to go down to the remove timer for fire. So fire, remove timer, goes down to the same fire. Then one on the remove goes up to the reset on this one. Now, to make more of this a little easier to read or a little less convoluted, nah, we're probably better off leaving it like this. You could potentially do more custom events and separate these out, so instead of crossing over, you have it go to a custom event right here that then starts right here, and that would keep you from crossing these lines. But it's not too big of a deal. You could also potentially do a weird line thing where you have these closer together and you keep the similar ones next to each other, like that. But how you do that is up to you. As long as you can track where these lines are actually going, that's really all that matters. I'm going to leave it like this for now, just for the sake of understanding. We've got set timer, remove timer. So we're going to go ahead and create the function here. Let's go ahead and name it. Oh, jeez. Fire DOT check. Okay. Go back here. Just spread these out a little bit. And then we'll do another custom run fire check timer. Do set timer by event. So let me just delete that. So this is set timer. And then we're going to copy and paste this right here. This is also going to be set timer. We'll set the timer on this one to 1 and looping. And we'll leave this one at 0. Whenever you're doing a timer, if you set it to 0, it basically functions like a clear. So it overwrites the current timer and sets it back to 0. You can also just set this one to not looping, which will effectively end it. Okay, so that's all good. And then right here, we're going to run our fire check DOT. So it'll automatically run the fire check DOT after setting the timer. And then this is functioning like the timer itself. So this will automatically start going every 1 second. So it'll run, and then after a second it'll run again, and then it'll continue to run every second until we tell it to stop. Okay. Maybe a little confusing. Hopefully we're still keeping on track at this point. So next we're going to go into the fire check DOT. Good. And what we're going to do in here is we're going to take that. So we've got an on fire counter, and then we need we're going to need a new integer. And we'll rename this one to on fire ticks remaining. So to start with, we've got the on fire counter. So this is just keeping track of whether or not we are currently standing in the fire. So let's go ahead and get a greater than 0 branch. Oh, jeez. There we go. All right. So if we're currently on fire, let's go ahead and get data table row. So this is going to be our DOT, this is our data table for the damage over time. This is for fire specifically. We're going to separate these functions out to their individuals. You could potentially run through all of these on the same function, so every damage over time. We would just need to add the enum here, put another switch, and then separate everything out. But I'm just going to run through the fire right now. So next, let's go ahead and break this. And then we've got our total ticks. We're going to want to grab our on fire ticks remaining that we created earlier. We're going to set this here. And then we want to pull off and get another greater than node. So this is just checking to make sure we still have ticks remaining. Branch. And then for false, we're going to reroute here. We're just going to skip all this stuff. Plug it directly into this branch, where it's going to do the same thing. It's going to check on fire ticks remaining. And then we're going to need to do the actual damage instance. So for false, let's go ahead and set the, oh wait, what did I name this? Remove. Yeah, remove timer. So fire. I'll actually pull this down a little bit. And then we're going to need to create another event here. So we'll compile and save that. Go back to the DOT graph. And then we're going to need to actually run through our damage events. So for fire, go ahead and do custom event. This is, we'll name this one fire DOT damage. And this is where it's actually going to be doing damage to the player itself. Again, you could just do DOT damage and then have the pin here for the enumerator and have it run off another switch for each one. I'm just going to separate this out for the moment. Let's do print string, and we'll just do take damage. So every time we take damage, it'll print it out. We'll make that last for, yeah, we'll make it last for 1 second. We'll make it red. It's kind of orange, but okay. And then to make sure this is working, on fire ticks remaining, let's do another print right here. We'll do the print right here actually. So we'll do print string. We're gonna move both of these here. We'll just plug that straight in, and we'll fix this in a minute. And then we need to do the fire DOT damage. And then we need to actually decrease the fire ticks remaining when this runs. So we'll get we want to end it right here. Let's put that right here. So we'll do, every time it does this, we will have it subtract 1. And then we will set it again. So we'll do 1 less, take damage. Okay. All right. Missing anything? No. Okay. Should be good. I think we've got everything set up here. So we can actually test this. Let me double check this first one again. Fire counter, yeah. Good, good. Actually, we don't want to remove timer here. We've got it handled inside the function itself. We don't want it to accidentally cancel before it even starts, or to cancel prematurely. Okay. Seven, so I'm taking damage. Leave. Okay, it doesn't look like that 7 is decreasing even though I've left the fire. I am taking damage periodically, which is why it's not disappearing. I only set that to 1 second, so it's just replacing itself immediately. Ah, of course. Okay, so this is our on overlap. We had other actor does implement interface. On end overlap, I had put the overlapped component into this test object, but that's not right because components can't have, well, our components aren't going to have the interface. It's the actor itself that does. So you need to plug the other actor into the test object. And now it works fine. So let me go ahead and grab the other stuff and put it back where it belongs. And I'll attach the prints real quick. so we can double check to make sure damage and everything is working right. Okay. Move that. DOT. And this. So now as long as we stay in here, you see the number stays at 7 and take damage. When we remove ourselves, the number starts to slowly tick down. We continue to take damage, and then it stops. So that's all working. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the video here. I think next time I think we're gonna improve a little bit more on this. Adding like HP to the character and showing it actually tick away. And then I am gonna also add in 1 or 2 more elements so you can see how they work when there's multiple different effects, damage over time happening at once, and how we can get that set up. But that'll be for the next video. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and hope everyone has a good day.